The Faed artists, John, Thomas, James, George and Susan, were the children of James and Mary Faed and were born and raised at Barlay Mill in Gatehouse. Of the 6 children they had, 5 of them had work exhibited at the Royal Academy in London and the Royal Scottish Academy in Edinburgh. The 6th, William, became a successful sheep farmer in Australia. The eldest, John, was born on the 31st of August 1819. As a child, he spent time living with his grandmother at Kirk Farm, where he learned to read from her and to draw from his uncle William. He set himself up a crude studio in the meal mill, where he ground his own colours to paint with. Even before he left school, he was taking commissions, painting an entire set of miniatures on ivory for the Campbell family when they came to live at Roseville in Gatehouse when he was only 9. The Campbell family were keen collectors of art, and the time spent painting them in their house was invaluable to the young painter. Lord Kenmure, who was also an avid painter, came to Gatehouse and was so impressed by John, he gave him his entire set of watercolours. John was so excited he took them to bed with him so he could examine their colours properly as soon as daylight arrived. This was when he stopped using India ink as his main medium. Having left school at 11, he began touring locally and painting miniatures. He worked in Cretan on enlarging and oil painting, which attracted so much positive attention that John's father was now reconciled to John's choice of career. John was still no older than 12. His father took him to Maryport in Cumbria while he was working there, and John was soon painting miniatures of many local worthies. His father was so pleased he had no objection when John decided he had to go to Edinburgh to attend art classes. His first picture accepted to the Royal Scottish Academy was Portrait of a Gentleman, exhibited along with 4 of his miniatures. When John became the head of the family in 1843, when his father died, he arranged for Thomas to enter the Institute of the Mound in Edinburgh. Soon, James and then finally George also joined them in Edinburgh. John was now regularly exhibiting portraits as well as miniatures. He was elected as an associate to the Royal Scottish Academy at 27 and was awarded the bronze medal. He would go on to win the silver medal later. He married Jane MacDonald in 1849, and this was around the time he began painting subject pictures, including one called Shakespeare and His Friends at the Mermaid Tavern, which was painted as a companion picture to Thomas's Sir Walter Scott and his literary friends at Abbotsford. A great fan of Robert Burns, James painted a number of works based on Tam O'Shanter. In 1857, with a group of fellow artists, John travelled to Egypt and the Holy Land. The trip had a strong effect on his work, and on his return he began painting Eastern and biblical subjects. They moved to London in 1864, following Thomas, but after only 5 years, John and Jane decided to build themselves a house in Gatehouse to return to for breaks from city life. Built for them by one of John's uncles, the house had a fine view of Gatehouse and the Fleet estuary. They named it Ardmore. John painted that view several times, and one of those paintings was displayed in the old town hall, built in 1885. He also painted the provost, who had been central to having the town hall built. John became a baillie of Gatehouse and a member of the town council. It was around this time too that John was involved in starting up the Kilcubry Fine Art Association alongside E.A. Hornell. Jane passed away in 1897 and Susan came to keep house for him. He had begun illustrating books with Thomas, including The Bards of Galloway by Malcolm McLaughlin Harper, and a portrait of William Nicholson appears in Harper's Rambles in Galloway. John died in October 1902 at the age of 83 and was buried beside Jane in Kirk Cemetery.